It is almost First Communion time. So when it's time for your First Communion Mass, we're going to ask you to get here about 30 minutes early so that we can run through all the logistics of the ceremony while you're in the church, so you can actually see, based on where you're seated, where you'll have to walk, where you'll stand to receive communion, where Father is going to be, where pictures will be, and all that fun stuff. This video is just to give you a very quick overview of that ahead of time, but then again, we'll do this right before your First Communion Mass. So when Mass begins, there's going to be no procession. First communicants are not going to process in, so you'll be in your seats. We'll have you seated with your family in a pew, and depending on the Mass, we're going to be in all 6 of these front sections. Wednesday's a little bit smaller, so we won't be in all of these sections on Wednesday, but for Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll be in all 6 of these front sections. We'll have a family in the front 2 pews. We'll skip a pew, family in the pew behind them, and then we'll keep a open row in between each of our families throughout the church. The far back sections will be open for additional guests if they can't fit in the seats that we've given you. There will be additional seats in the back of these pie sections as well, so you'll be able to have all of your guests fit nice and comfortably in the church. So you'll begin in your seats, Mass will proceed as usual, and everything will look normal until communion time. So at communion time, everyone, regardless of where you're sitting, is going to approach Father through the center aisle, and we'll have ushers who will help figure out how to get you there. But we're all going to process up the center aisle to receive communion, and we're going to ask first communicants and parents to come forward. Parents, you're presenting your child to Father for First Communion. And our photographer, Gary Yon, will be standing here off to the side, and he'll take a nice picture of your child receiving First Communion with parents in the background of that picture. You don't have to pose after communion or anything like that. Just as your child is receiving First Communion, he'll snap a shot. And then you loop back into your seats after receiving communion. This year, because of the pandemic, you're only receiving hosts, like those practice hosts that we let you pick up to practice with. There will be no precious blood from a chalice due to the pandemic. So at some point in the future, if and when the chalice comes back, we'll have a big public explanation of how do you receive from a chalice again. Mass will continue as usual after communion. After we have our first communicants and parents receive and you return to your seats, then we'll invite all of our family and friends and guests to come forward for communion as normal. Mass will proceed as usual. At the end of Mass, we're going to ask you to stay in your seats for just a few minutes so we can line up for pictures as well. So group pictures afterwards. Gary will be available. He will usually set up right over here by the presider's chair because we get kind of the best lighting with a nice angle back to the tabernacle. And he'll take individual shots of first communicants, and then he'll invite parents to come up or family members to take a picture as well. So we want you to stay in your seats so that we can get you in line for those pictures, because if we follow directions for that part, we can get through everybody in 20 minutes or so, sometimes quicker than that. If we just let families charge the altar and try to sort things out, it takes another hour. So we want to respect everyone's time and get you guys out of here in a timely fashion and also have pictures taken. You don't have to take pictures with Gary. If you'd like to take your own pictures, you can take Gary's picture and then come off to the side and take your own family shots over here by the baptismal font. But Gary's shots will be available online for you to check out and see if you'd like to purchase any of those as well. Again, we'll see you 30 minutes prior to First Communion Mass. Thanks a lot, and God bless.